Hello skaters, welcome back. I'm so glad you're here. I am Coach Julia and I hope that you're enjoying this February Couples Figure Skating Month. Now today we're going to continue that theme with a bit of history about ice dance. Now for those of you who are new to this sport, ice dance is considered a separate discipline than figure skating. It's under kind of that same umbrella, but it is considered a separate sport. The most notable difference is that ice dancing is considered more akin to ballroom dancing on ice, where skaters test and compete set pattern dances as well as a free dance. The emphasis is on a graceful, entertaining routine to music that has a steady beat or rhythm, with skaters maintaining a ballroom dance type hold for the majority of the program. While ice dancing is usually done in pairs, no jumps or throws are allowed. Figure skating pairs focuses more on jumps, lifts, death spirals, and spins. And while figure skaters are scored on the connection footwork between all of those elements, ice dancers are judged more on the precision of their footwork. But how did this ice dance discipline evolve? Well, as far back as 1836, the Oxford Skating Society had a program or a list of moves that they considered suitable to do hand in hand with a partner. But these were still figures, the classic round figures that we associate with figure skating. But if we look at 1865, Jackson Haynes, considered the father of figure skating, was in Vienna, demonstrating what he called dancing on ice. Now we all know Vienna as the waltz capital of the world. And the Viennese, with their love of music, became instantly enamored and took up dancing on ice in massive numbers. But what they were doing is very different from what we would consider ice dancing today. Their waltz movements consisted of 2 forward steps and 2 backward steps, but their feet remained on the ice the entire time, so it resembled more of a grapevine done to a waltz timing. The true predecessor to what we would consider ice dancing today, with speed, flow across the ice, strong edges, was the 3-step waltz introduced in 1895 by Monsieur Richard, a pairs instructor in Paris. Within a year of its introduction, the 3-step waltz became a craze in the United States, Canada, and all over Europe. The 3-step waltz became the standard for ice dancing by the century's end. 2 more ice dancing patterns were introduced in the early 1900s. The 10th step, which evolved into the 14th step, which is still performed today, and the Killian, which again is a dance pattern that we still do to this day. With these 3 patterns, ice dancers took over skating clubs all over the world. At a local level, competitions began to be held with these set patterns, first in England in 1934, then Canada in 1935, the United States in 1936, and Austria began holding competitions in 1937. Skating clubs sought to expand the discipline, and competitions were introduced to specifically encourage new dance patterns. Many more of the dance patterns that we are still doing today were invented during these competitions in the 1930s, including the Westminster Waltz, the Viennese, the Paso Doble, the Foxtrot, even a dance we call the blues. Skating took a great pause during World War II. But due to the popularity of ice dance during the 1930s, the International Skating Union was keen to organize the sport and get it ready to be an internationally competed discipline. So in 1947, a conference was held to organize it and create some rules and parameters for what ice dance really is. And once these official rules were put in place, ice dance finally had a true unique distinction from pair skating. No overhead lifts, no throws, no jumps that rotate, and your spins could only go around like 1.5 times. These rules also reinforce the importance of precise footwork and those set pattern dances. So for competition, the regulations called for 4 set pattern dances to be performed by each couple. So each couple would do the exact same 4 set pattern dances. So everyone would do the Westminster Waltz, and then everyone had a chance to do the blues, and so on. That was considered 60% of the score. So those 4 set pattern dances were really worth a lot of the score. And then they had an original dance that they were to perform. And this was worth 40% of the score. So this original dance, it had to have a rhythmic timing. It had to be some kind of dance music. But it could be the couple's own creativity with what they did during that dance. With the sport now organized, the first international competition was held as a special event during the 1950 World Championships in London. The American team won the event much to the embarrassment of the British, who considered themselves to be the best ice dancers in the world. So a follow-up event was held at the 1951 World Championships in Milan, and Jean Westwood and Lawrence Demy of Great Britain came in first place. Ice dance was formally added to the World Championships in 1952, and the British team of Westwood and Demy won again, and each year for the next 4 years. In fact, British teams won every event in ice dance through 1960. But in 1970, the victory of Ludmila Pekhamova and Alexander Gorshkov at the World Championships put the Soviets in the center of ice dancing. Up until that time, when the Soviets won the World Championships, the style of ice dance had been very British. It was very proper, very good posture, tall upper bodies. They sailed around the ice with very straight lines. But when the Soviets came in, they brought in a whole new style that the world had never seen. They curled around each other, dancing more like a couple in love, rather than a couple at a tea party. They also communicated more with the audience, changing up their body positions so they were not always face to face. Beginning in 1970, the Soviets, then the Russians, dominated ice dance, as they did with pair skating. Between 1970 and 1999, the Soviets, then Russians, won 22 out of the 28 World Championships and 6 out of 7 Olympic gold medals, including the first year ice dance was part of the Olympic Games in 1976. The one great break in the Soviet-Russian domination of ice dance came in the early 80s with a team that many would consider the best ice dancers in the world, Jane Torvill and Christopher Dean. Like all great champions, they tested the limits of the ice dance discipline and changed it forever. Their legacy lies in their dramatic alteration of the established concepts of ice dance. Torvill and Dean took the rules and stretched them to the limits. Lifts until then had been truly frowned upon, and so teams rarely tried them. But Torvill and Dean devised lifts that satisfied the letter of the law. They stayed within the rules. And with these lifts, they were able to add a whole dynamic level of drama and creativity to the sport. While the Soviet and Russian teams added a romantic factor to ice dance, Torvill and Dean told stories through their programs. Previously, skaters had chosen music purely for the rhythm and would skate to the rhythm. The music ice dancers chose would often be from completely different pieces of music, cut together in odd ways to maintain the rhythm. Up until then, skaters had created movements, pure and simple. But the concept of a storyline with one cohesive piece of music was new. Torvill and Dean created a story with characters and roles to play. For the 1984 Olympics, the original set pattern dance, that's the name of that event, the original set pattern dance had to be a paso doble. That means at the beginning of the season, all of the teams would select a paso doble and create an original dance in that style. Well, Torvill and Dean took that idea and went a completely different way with it. Dean portrayed a matador, with Torvill portraying his cape. It was brilliant. No one had ever seen anything like it before, and the team was rewarded with 6.0 marks from all the judges for the first time in world competition. Their free dance was even more innovative and ended up being the most performed program in figure skating or ice dance history. They skated to Maurice Ravel's Bolero, and the music became the background for a story of two lovers who, not able to stay together, decide to climb to the top of a mountain and throw themselves from it. It was one of the finest interpretive dances ever skated and forever changed the sport of ice dance. Ice dance has continued to develop in innovation, and today is a balance between classic set pattern dances and creative, passionate, and artistic free dances. The set pattern dances are no longer held at world level events, but they are still the foundation of the discipline. Here in the United States, skaters test 23 different dances on their way up the skill ladder to world level competition. And there are many opportunities for competition and performance at a more recreational level as well. With these set pattern dances, ice dancing is a discipline that is easily accessible to those skaters who might not necessarily want to work on those jumps and spins, but still want to challenge themselves on the ice and improve their skating skills. It's also a discipline that can now be done both with a partner and solo, which gives it lots of flexibility out on the ice. Now next week, I have a very special guest who's going to be joining me out on the ice to help teach 3 skating skills that are the basic foundation for an introduction to ice dance. I hope you will come out and join me. And I hope you enjoyed this video, found it informative, maybe learned a little bit of something new about the discipline of ice dance and figure skating. If you enjoyed it, please do give us that thumbs up. And as always, I look forward to reading all your comments in the section down below. If you haven't done so yet, then hit that subscribe button and the little notification bell down in the corner so you can see all my videos when they come out. Happy skating, and I'll see you next time.